oh my, do we have a show for you guys coming up on today's edition of the Jets Report by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, as we are getting a bombshell report coming in from Todd McShay, where he says no single player in this draft wants to be a New York Jet. This was his exact quote, saying not one single player in this draft, unless they grew up a Jets fan or have some family ties, wants to be a New York Jet. Now, this was on a recent podcast where he was talking with his guy Mensch just about the NFL draft, talking about Dante Moore, and Todd McShay obviously has that quote, and, it started to get a bunch of headlines on social media. People were, really reacting to this big-time report because this is a big-time report. Todd McShay coming out there and pretty much saying no player in this draft, unless you have a connection with the Jets organization, wants to be drafted by New York. And Jake tweeted this out. I thought it was a good point that he made, saying McShay points to Jets ownership as the top reason agents want their players nowhere near New York. On top of that, there is zero faith in the coaching staff to develop a young quarterback. This is why keeping Glenn makes no sense. We also got, pretty much a confirmation today that Aaron Glenn will remain the New York Jets head coach. But I thought this was a fantastic point because obviously we know the quarterback position, the most important position in all of sports. Well, if you don't have any faith in that staff and that current regime developing that young quarterback, yeah, it makes sense why other players don't, even if you weren't a quarterback, why they wouldn't want to come to the New York Jets. Now, I will say, Todd McShay has taken shots at the Jets organization for a very, very long time. He has been hypercritical of Woody Johnson, and this is just another example of him doing just that. And the biggest reason why he's hypercritical of him is because McShay was roommates with Joe Douglas back when they played football at Richmond. Obviously, no Woody Johnson. Did Joe Douglas pretty dirty in firing him. So Todd McShay, him being hypercritical of this Jets organization, I'm not saying he's wrong to be critical of the Jets organization, but there is some, personal beef that he has with Woody Johnson. So it does make some sense. Now, Todd McShay also talked about Dante Moore, and we'll talk about that here in a second, but I do want to shout out all of you guys who hit that subscribe button yesterday. We picked up 25 new subscribers, and I say we try to beat it today. Why the hell not? Go down there, hit that subscribe button today, join our Jets Report family here on YouTube, and hit that subscribe button. It would be greatly appreciated. And once you are subscribed, just give me a me down below, and we'll give you guys a shout out on a future show. All right, so there's more from McShay here, where he also says, excuse me, that Dante Moore should get confirmation from the Raiders if they will draft him. Obviously, the Raiders selecting one pick ahead of the Jets, number 1 overall. And if the Raiders say they won't draft him and they will go draft Fernando Mendoza, that he should just return to Oregon. Because I guarantee you, if the Raiders take Fernando Mendoza and Dante Moore is available at number 2, they will take Dante Moore. He is a prospect that the Jets organization cannot miss. And there's also rumors out there that Oregon and Phil Knight and the backing of Nike would be willing to pay Dante Moore $7 to $12 million to keep him at Oregon. Now, McShay also mentioned, he was saying, well, Dante Moore can make the same amount of money at Oregon his senior year or his junior year that he would, redshirt junior year, that he would make, in his first year with the New York Jets, which is true. But also McShay's missing the mark here because, yes, in year 1 of a number 2 overall draft pick in the NFL, you're making $9.5 million. Okay, Phil Knight, the backing of Oregon, they can match that pretty easily. So I understand that argument. But the contract gets a whole lot bigger. I mean, this is a 4-year, $52 million contract you will turn down. And obviously, we know in the NFL draft, the difference between getting selected number 2 overall and getting selected number 7 overall in terms of the contract you will sign is massive. So, yes, in year 1, Oregon could match that contract. But in year 2 and year 3, especially in year 4, I mean, you're turning down $16 million guaranteed, plus the 5th-year option, where if he ends up making a Pro Bowl at any time with the New York Jets, that could be up towards $30 million for that 5th-year option. So I kind of disagree on McShay with that part. But, kind of thinking about this report coming out, think about McShay saying this about the Jets organization, it all gets back to the season that the Jets just had. When you have a historically bad season, reports like this are going to come out. Because, yes, people are looking at this team and seeing that they lost their last 5 games by 23-plus points. They have a historically bad defense. They have a historically bad, offense as well. And the quarterback position was a complete joke. So it does make sense why other players and other prospects in the draft are looking at the Jets and they're just kind of hoping to themselves, man, I wish another team would draft me. Now, connect this back to Dan Campbell, and because if you want to be optimistic about where the Jets are, and if you want to kind of have some blind faith in them turning it around, people used to say the same thing about the Lions. People used to say the same thing about the Browns, probably still are saying about the Browns, that they don't want to go play for that respective organization. And I'm not saying like these players are wrong, but also I think McShay is kind of hyping this up a little more than what it is, because these players are getting drafted. This is a dream that they have had for their entire lives. It's not like these guys or Dante Moore is going to be drafted by the Jets or at any pick in the first round, second round, third round, and they're going to be like, oh, I'm upset that I just got drafted by the New York Jets. Don't give me that BS. They're going to be absolutely ecstatic that they just got drafted to the NFL, a lifelong dream that these kids have just had. So I think this was just McShay taking shots at the Jets organization. Clearly he's not a big fan of Woody Johnson. Is he right? Is he wrong? Not going to speculate too much on that, but him saying that nobody wants to go play for the Jets may be true, but also these kids are going to be fired up to get drafted regardless, no matter what team ends up taking them. So you guys let me know your thoughts, though. Are you concerned about this report? Are you buying into it? Give me a Y for yes, give me an N for no. I'm not really too concerned about it. Obviously, the Jets are in a tough spot right now, but it's not like this report. I'm like, oh, nobody's going to want to come play for the Jets. If they draft them, they will come play, and they will be a part of a potential rebuild here in New York. And so I'm not really too concerned. But you guys let me know your thoughts down below. All right, I do want to end today's show finishing off with a couple of quotes from the presser between Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn. And this also gave us the confirmation that Aaron Glenn will be the head coach, since he was up there talking with Muji. And Muji started off by saying this: I'm excited about the offseason as we go into it. I feel more confident today than ever moving forward with what we have going. And, as he should be. And, Jets fans, regular season's tough, but, y'all live for the offseason. Like, this is when you guys get to hoist your offseason Super Bowl trophy here, but especially in an offseason where you have multiple first-round picks. You got 3 first-round picks the following year. You got a boatload of money in, cap space. You got quarterback question. You could bring in anybody. So, listen, this will be a fun offseason. But, again, potential, it's the worst word in sports. Potential is not a real thing. The Jets have the potential to turn this around. They just have to execute on all of these assets they have. And Muji also said this, talking about the quarterback position, saying, I can tell you we will exhaust every option, free agency, and obviously the draft. So, clearly Muji here, he knows the quarterback position, and he knows, that it's the most important position of sports, and they can't have the quarterback play they got this season. I mean, this graphic is absolutely horrifying for our guy Brady Cook. It is PFF grades going across the bottom, and it's EPA per play going across the top. Brady Cook is so far away from even the second worst quarterback in the league in Shedeur Sanders, who had a historically bad rookie season. And Brady Cook, I mean, he's blowing everybody out in the water in terms of worst quarterback in the National Football League. And in terms of what the Jets could do at the quarterback spot, no stone should go unturned. I think this is a situation where, the Jets are obviously in a tough spot because let's just say Dante Moore does not, potentially leave for the NFL draft. Then what do? Like, do you call Kyler Murray? Do you call Kirk Cousins? Do you try to formulate some type of trade for even a Mac Jones? Or do you just go with a Malik Willis in free agency? Like, there will be a lot of options, but I kind of believe Muji with what he's saying. They will exhaust every option, and they would just go from there. But we do have a sweet deal going on right now where this awesome Jets sweatshirt is over 50% off right now. Just head on over to chatsports.com/Jets long sleeve. Hit that link. It'll be in the comments section and description of today's show. So click that link, get it for over 50% off right now. I actually kind of like the look of this. It's pretty fresh. Normally they're around $49.99, but they're actually for just $20.99 right now. So hit that link in the comment section and description of today's show. All right, Muji also had this to say, saying with the assets we have moving forward, I know we're going to continue to build and add good players that will help us win. So obviously he understands you've got a lot of assets. You got to execute, though, and they need a bunch of talent, not just at the QB spot, but the entire roster needs more talent. And Aaron Glenn, he had his thoughts, and this was probably the best quote from the press conference from AG, saying there's a clear vision, a clear plan on how we want to go about doing things. You match that with moves with our owner and the foundation of players that we have, that gives me all the confidence in the world that we are heading in the right direction. And, the Jets had this plan set in stone after the trade deadline. Like, they blatantly were tanking the rest of the season. I mean, them playing Brady Cook for the final 5 games, that was an absolute joke. I mean, Brady Cook was one of the worst quarterbacks that has ever hit the field in the NFL. And we have seen some bad quarterbacks play this year. I mean, Max Brosmer was a disaster for the Vikings. Shador Sanders was a disaster for the Browns. And Brady Cook was significantly worse than both of those guys. It was just a clear tank job. Aaron Glenn and Muji, that's why there was no chance that they were going to get fired, because when you make the move at the deadline that they made of trading Sauce, trading Quinnen Williams, and then you go play Brady Cook the last 4 games, they're not playing like their jobs are on the line. So there was a plan set in stone at the deadline, and now you got all these assets. Should be a lot of fun, and I'm excited for it. And if you guys are excited for it as well, just hit me with a me down below in the comment section. We'll get on out of here. As always, go Jets.